Hello everyone, I'm going to show you how to do a full bust adjustment. Before we start, there's a few things we need to note down. So, we need two measurements for a bust adjustment. We need a high bust measurement and a full bust measurement. So the high bust is right under your armpits all the way round, and your full bust is the fullest part of your bust as you would take your normal bust measurement. What you need to do then is to write the two measurements down. So I always write it like this because it's easier to understand. So the high bust measurement, whatever that is, the full bust measurement, whatever that is, and then the difference between the two. Then when we've worked out the difference between the two, we need to go across to the next sheet of paper I've prepared. Just write down the bust differential, and then when we're working with a pattern, unless it's asymmetrical, we're working on a half of the front. So you have a right and a left side. So when we've got the bust differential, what we need to do is split it between the right and the left, so half it basically, and this is the amount that we're going to add in for the full bust adjustment. Now I'm working quarter scale, so I'm just going to add in a random amount, but you'll see how your measurements add up. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to split the pattern up into 3 sections. So we're going to go and find the bust. So we're going to find the nipple point, and the nipple point is 2 centimeters away from the apex of the dart. So the apex of the dart is the end of the dart. So I'm just finding where the directions are, and then I'm going to note in there that that is my nipple point. Then I'm going to draw a line through the bottom of the dart, up through the bust dart, and then I'm going to measure around my armhole. Whatever that measurement is, I'm going to split it, divide it into 3, and then that will be my next measurement point. So it's 1/3 of the armhole from the side seam. Next step, we're going to chop. So we're going to cut up through the dart line, up to the bust, and then we're going to cut up to breaking point, so leave the paper hanging on. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then we're going to cut through the dart towards the bust line, again to breaking point. So there's the 3 markers that we've made. So now we come back to the measurement that we took and halved. So your bust differential, which is halved. Now this is the amount now that you're going to be adding in. So the first things is you need to just secure your pattern. So I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape to keep everything in place. I'm just going to make sure that that line's extended down. So I want that to stay straight. So, everything's secure and in place. We're working with the amount that is half of the differential. So for mine, I'm going to mark in what half the differential is. So I'm drawing from the dart line the amount, which is half my differential. This is the amount that I've just drawn in. So then the next point, get yourself some tape. Is we're going to rotate the apex of the dart until it touches the line. I'm going to put in my tape to secure that. And then we're going to bring, so from the apex of the dart, we're going to then straighten this bottom piece up. So it's straight down the line. I'm going to put some tape in to secure it. Now, as you can see, because we've moved, we have lowered the hem, which is fine, that's supposed to happen, but we need to square it off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a line across from the centre front to above my dart, and I'm going to trim this and move it down. And the reason why I'm moving it down is so that my dart is still in the same place, so I don't have to redraw the whole thing. I've got a good guide there. I'm moving that down. I'm making sure that the centre front stays straight all the time. That's why I marked it at the beginning. So that's all secured and in place. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my dart back in. So I'm going to draw my waist dart in first, and then I'm going to show you what to do with the bust dart. So I'm just measuring how much the dart is and redrawing that first leg in, because the dart line, which is the line straight up to the nipple point, has not changed. So the dart line is still in the same place. We're just adding in this extra bit for the fullness of the bust. So I've added that new dart in there. I'm just going to go over it in pen. So obviously we've got a few different lines on here now. So this is just so you can see. You should always use a H pencil when you're using patterns, making patterns. Right, I'm just going to secure over here, because we're going to now change the dart. So what's happened is the dart has lowered. Now we don't want the dart to be lower, we want the dart to be in line with the nipple point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to my nipple point that I marked in earlier, and I'm going to find now the middle point of my dart. So I'm just measuring the difference between so I'm going from my dart, from my nipple point, sorry, through to the middle of my dart, so I can find out where that central line is. Then I'm going to measure 2 centimeters back from that line that I've just drawn. And then I'm going to join the point, so that's going to be the apex of my dart, up to the original dart legs. So then what we need to do to get the dart right is we need to fold the dart out. So I'm just going to fold along the dart and close the dart up. And then I'm going to reshape the side seam. Using the scissors. And then I'm just going to pen in my new dart line. So then that is your bust adjustment. So at this point now you can trace off your pattern piece. So you haven't got loads of sticky tape on there. Or you can just go ahead and use it. And there you go. There's your bust adjustment.